A mysterious widow spent 80 million to purchase a seemingly ordinary meat bun shop. Every single day, around 800 men flocked there, desperate for a bite of the legendary meat buns, a taste so enchanting, it left them completely hooked. But her daughter found it all deeply suspicious. She had never once seen her mother buy meat. Stranger still, the widow strictly forbade her daughter from eating the buns or even stepping foot inside the kitchen. The daughter couldn't shake the feeling that something dark was hiding beneath the surface. One day, a man came specifically to purchase the so-called magical buns. The widow took his money and quietly told him to come back later that night to pick them up. Hidden in the shadows, her daughter saw and heard everything. That night, the widow led the man into the kitchen. Curious and uneasy, the daughter secretly followed them. But as she crept closer, strange sounds began to echo from inside. Frightened, the girl slipped and fell. Startled by the noise, the widow emerged, hair messy, clothes disheveled, and discovered her disobedient daughter. She slapped her across the face, warning her never to enter the kitchen again. But the girl, trembling, asked, "Mom, there was water all over the floor. Where did you hide that man?" The widow froze, then realized her daughter hadn't uncovered the truth. Relieved, she doubled down. No going into the kitchen. No eating the buns. The girl stormed off in anger. The widow, still anxious, wiped what looked like ketchup from her hands. But oddly enough, every time a customer mysteriously vanished, the buns seemed to smell even better, and the shop only grew more and more popular. The daughter couldn't understand it. The question haunted her for years as she grew up. Determined to find out the truth, she eventually bought one of the buns from a customer. Just as she raised it to her mouth, ready to take a bite, her mother burst out and smacked it from her hand, completely panicked. The widow's terrifying overreaction only deepened the girl's suspicion. So that night, when the house was quiet, she snuck into the kitchen to search for answers. But what she saw chilled her to the bone, her mother, standing still in the dark like a ghost. Once again, she left with more questions than answers. Eventually, the widow gave in. She promised to tell her everything, but only after she brought her boyfriend home. The very next day, the girl did just that. When her mother laid eyes on the young man, her eyes gleamed. The boyfriend couldn't help but ogle the curvy widow, nervously swallowing as she smiled. The daughter reminded her mother of the promise. The widow replied calmly, "Let's have dinner first." She asked her to bring the boyfriend inside. That night, the widow served her signature dish, barbecue pork buns. The boyfriend, thrilled that she'd made them herself, dug right in, completely unaware he was one bite away from death. Meanwhile, the girl had just a sip of wine before feeling dizzy and passing out. Seeing her chance, the widow slinked over to the boyfriend, running her hands over his body. The young man, aroused and confused, followed her willingly into the kitchen. Sometime later, the girl regained consciousness. Noticing both her mother and boyfriend were gone, she rushed toward the strange sounds coming from the kitchen. And what she saw in there nearly scared her to death.